Hello you chronically online freaks. Today we're going to be speaking about YouTube drama. Now just like the rest of my Saturdays, I've spent my Saturday doing something extremely pointless where I create a cycle, a document, a diagram, which basically shows the cycle of YouTube drama. Yes, I need to do something better with my time, but this is what I've done and now I'm going to show it to you. Now this is what I would call the 5 stages of YouTube drama. These 5 keystones are what the majority of influencers these days go through. Sadly, but yeah, let's get through it. Starting off with part 1. YouTuber says something stinky. Now, these stinky things can be among anything in this world. They could say something political, which is absolutely horrible. That's quite a common one. They could, possibly, party during a thing where there's a lot of people dying throughout the world, and a lot of people get mad at that. It could also be they probably just have a really bad take about the Marvel Cinematic Universe, like the Age of Ultron film. That film is terrible. Yet for some reason people like it. But then we move on to part 2, where people then respond to that stinky thing by saying, hey, I actually don't like that stinky thing. Could you possibly run that back? And that brings us on to part 3, where the YouTuber gets mad at people for acknowledging that said stinky thing and blames everybody else for that stinky thing that they actually said, and they refuse to admit that they were wrong in possibly any scenario, to the point of where they are going to argue with every single person on the internet to prove their point and prove that they are actually the one in the right and every single person is the one in the wrong. I'm not being specific here, I promise. And that brings us on to part 4, which is of course the YouTuber apology. Now this is something not every single person goes through. A lot of people do like to skip this, but I usually would recommend this. I'd say this is a good step to go to if you want to get to part 5, which is YouTuber seemingly moves on and continues their career, making lots of fun, successful things and going on to make a lot of money. That's great. But then there is somebody out there that is actually breaking the YouTube cycle multiverse. This person has been stuck at part 3 for their entire career. This person is an influencer, a YouTuber, possibly even a musician. Well, sort of a musician. They have been stuck on part 3 for their entire career. Ladies and gentlemen, today we're going to be speaking about Gabbie Hanna.
Go to sleep. Rest your head.
Oh my God.
Tomorrow. Do the things you can change right now.
Stop right there.
I feel like at this point, Gabbie Hanna has been spoken about so much that she's gradually just become a part of internet folklore. She is basically a legend at this point, and whether you say her legendary status is for good or bad reasons, I think we can all agree that every single person on the internet has given their 2 cents on Gabbie Hanna. I mean, are you really a commentary channel if you don't have 900 videos speaking about how Gabbie Hanna once breathed? And I honestly believe that a lot of criticisms over the years of Gabbie have been massively overblown. I feel like there's been a lot of situations that I've seen Gabbie involved in, and I'm kind of sat on the sideline thinking, oh, is it that deep? Is it really that deep? Because I don't think it is. And I've said this quite a bit in the past, and at the same time, I do feel like a lot of the situations out there involving Gabbie are pretty valid to speak about. In fact, some of them are extremely valid, and I myself have been a big critic of Gabbie, whilst at the same time being somebody that has actually defended her in the occasional situation. Now, in the last 2 years, the main 3 things that people have spoken about involving Gabbie is the Jessie Smile situation, Gabbie's series, basically speaking about everybody that she doesn't like, and obviously the third being the war crime.
I beg your pardon.
The place where nobody in the world should ever venture. Her TikTok.
I'm back, bitches. And I don't want to hear. I'm acting different. Same lips that be talking about me are the same lips that be kissing. These hoes ain't who they say they are, and they're saying they catfishing. Same hoes that was sending shots, they reaching out, they're back itching. Why would I hop in some beef when I could just hop in a Porsche? You heard she go do what from who?
In case you haven't noticed, I'm weird. I'm a weirdo. I don't fit in, and I don't want to fit in.
But seriously, there is two reasons we're going to be speaking about Gabbie. This is a follow-up to a video I made last year speaking about Gabbie's series, where we will be covering the aftermath of that series, a recent response to the situation involving Graceffa, and then we'll be speaking about Gabbie recently going onto a podcast and speaking about drama. And then the last reason is, I guess, the allegation over whether Gabbie Hanna has a little bit of a victim complex. So starting off fresh, we're going to go straight in and speak about the series that Gabbie Hanna uploaded onto her YouTube channel last year. As I said earlier, this was a series designed to expose every single person that Gabbie Hanna basically didn't like. If you had pissed Gabbie Hanna off in a slight way, you've got a video made about you in chapter 64, I don't like Inabber. Trust me, I don't like him either. But yeah, Gabbie, she exposed a lot of big famous people out there, including Graceffa, in a video titled Chapter 4, Escape the Nightmare. And yeah, it's a very dramatic title. It's a title which screams, expose, what's going to be said here? Who's going to be in trouble? Funnily enough, the video no longer doesn't exist on her channel. And funnily enough, the person that got exposed from that video was actually Gabbie. Because in this video, Gabbie speaks about a lot of rumours surrounding her in a, I guess, series which Graceffa created called Escape the Night. And I'm not going to go into specifics about what the show was, but basically, Gabbie was a part of this. She featured on the show, and there were a lot of rumours that she was an absolute nightmare to work with, and Gabbie responded to that in this series where she called out quite a few people.
I truly, for real, thought Joey and Daniel were like my real friends. So this was a knife to the heart. So here's how it happened. My agent reached out to me and asked me if I wanted to do Escape the Night season 4. I had done season 2 and I did not enjoy the experience at all. And I told my agent I did not want to do it. And I told him my reasons, which were I was really dealing with a lot of very bad mental health issues, and my eating disorder was at an all-time peak. This was around the time of the monster meme, the Kenza Cosmetics thing. There was a lot of shit going on. And also, I did not like the first experience that I was there. First time I signed on to do it, I was like, yeah, I'm dying to do this, but I didn't expect my reaction in that type of work environment, and it was like not good. Like, I was just unprofessional. Dude, a lot of people have a lot of stories about me being unprofessional. I promise you that. Like, there's no shortage of them. I used to be really difficult to work with, and probably in the wrong setting, I'm still really difficult to work with. Acting, especially like stuff on sets, it's just something that I personally cannot do. If I'm sitting still for too long, I need to do something. Doing a shoot like that where it's like you're there for hours and hours and hours and hours and hours a day, most of it is sitting around doing nothing.
And what I take from this clip is pretty obvious. Gabbie is seemingly blaming her bad behaviour on her ADHD. Now, for me personally, this hits home a little bit because recently your boy was diagnosed with ADHD. I can't focus on anything and it ruins my life. Seriously. ADHD is a very unspoken thing when it comes to ruining people's lives. When I grew up, I thought ADHD was this thing that the bad kids get diagnosed with, you know? You were told that, oh, everybody's got a little bit of ADHD in them, and it's like, no, guys! ADHD is a really bad thing that a lot of people struggle with, including myself. Like, literally, I tick every box. When the psychiatrist bloke was going through with it, it was like, oh, Jesus, you are messed up, son. And I'm like, yeah, I am. And I'm paying hundreds of pounds for this private diagnosis. But yeah, I've got a lot of experience with ADHD, so seeing something like this definitely tickles my pickle in a way, because I just don't think that what she's saying here is completely valid. Gabbie is claiming that the reason she was such a nightmare to work on set, the reason that there are so many bad stories out there about there, is because of her ADHD. And the question is do I think that ADHD is an excuse to be a dick to others? No, obviously I don't, because if you think that you're mental, like, I mean, to be fair, if you've got ADHD, you are mental to a degree, because, you know, it's a very annoying thing to have. But, yeah, you know, of course not. Like, it's not an excuse to treat people like shit. But, I do acknowledge that ADHD can be annoying for other people. And because I annoy other people with some of the things I do. I lose things very easily. I leave things lying around. And that might seem like very minute things, but in day-to-day things, it can be annoying. But never to an extent of where people are going around sharing stories about how I'm such a horrible person to work with. Now, maybe it could be something to do with, I don't know, they're bad at time management skills, but never people going around saying how terrible I am. That's not to the point of where videos are made about that with millions of views. That's never really happened. You know, it's never happened. So no, I don't really think this is 100% a valid excuse. Now, if Gabbie said, you know, my ADHD definitely did affect me on the set, that's not an excuse to treat people badly, but it definitely did affect my time management skills, I could perfectly accept that because that is an extremely valid reason. I wouldn't even say that's an excuse, it's a reason, because ADHD is something that you have to live with every single day of your life. But after this video that Gabbie uploaded, Graceffa then came out and responded with an expose on Gabbie Hanna, basically showing that Gabbie was extremely manipulative in that video, and I'm just going to play a clip where you can get the full context.
You also claim that ADHD is the biggest reason that you acted the way you did on set. But just so you know, half the cast had ADHD and did not act in the way that you did. So I'm sorry, but that is not an excuse. Then you go into your eating disorder and the whole food situation.
I'm a very fragile person, I know, but that's my point, is like I'm very forthcoming about that with pretty much everyone in my life, because I'm trying to set boundaries and communicate clearly, this is how I am feeling. If you still insist, because I'm working on that, but I don't respect my own boundaries. So if you insist and you're like, please do this, and I agree, and I'm giving you these very clear things that I need to meet my dietary restrictions, which, by the way, is not weird for any type of actor or talent on set to have a request like dietary needs. That's a very personal thing. Some people need vegan food on set, some people need gluten-free. I needed something that was fitting the needs of my eating disorder. Just like, you're a horrible, toxic person. And I'm like, was I? Because like, I feel like what happened is exactly what I told you was gonna happen. But that's why that was such an upsetting situation for me, because I was hearing that behind the scenes for a long time. And I was hearing that he was like playing out voice notes of me being upset that there wasn't like the proper food on set.
Every single person is sent a form days before we start filming to get people's medical information and their allergies and any food restrictions. Gabbie didn't fill this out until the day we were on set. Miss Gabbie, can we do a little BTS moment? How is she? Look at, she's got her yellow hair on.
We're doing that.
She's practicing her script.
Filling out my medical information.
You're supposed to fill this out beforehand so we can get everything prepared and make sure that we have your dietary restrictions accounted for. So I don't understand how you expect things to be done for you when you don't do the work yourself.
Now, obviously, that clip pretty much just outright exposes Gabbie Hanna for some of the things that she said in that Escape the Nightmare video, and this led to a lot of criticism of her series, regardless of any good points that she made in the series, some good points she made about Trisha Paytas and other scenarios. It did show that Gabbie is willing to lie and is willing to manipulate, or she just seemingly forgets how the past goes and changes it in her mind. And a lot of content creators started to make videos speaking about this series, basically, I guess, exposing a lot of the lies, including myself. And then, you know, it kind of led to Gabbie Hanna basically removing the entire series from her platform. Now, I don't know if that's to do with the fact that she got criticism, or it's to do with the fact that maybe her music label said, Gabster, you can't have this on your channel because it makes the brand look bad. Maybe, I guess we'll never know. But the reason I'm bringing this up is because I kind of want to get you up to speed on this, because recently Graceffa has again been speaking about this situation on a podcast featuring, of all people, Laura Lee and Manny MUA. Yeah, I've not seen those guys since Laura Lee was squeezing out a tear? Not really a tear, like a water droplet from the tap.
I need to owe you an apology for this.
Still, honest to God, one of the greatest clips of all time, and I understand people can like grow and change, but nothing's going to grow and change the fact that that clip is always going to be amazing. But yes, let's get into this clip of Joey Graceffa speaking further about the whole Escape the Nightmare situation.
Okay, when Gabbie Hanna did that expose video, like her version of the expose, what was going through your mind?
What your thoughts.
I want to know what was going on through your mind.
Okay, so
I need true tea.
I had an inkling that it was coming because
Did you?
She posted on her like Patreon or something like the list of people she was coming after. So
what?
Escape the Night was like one of the things that she was going to talk about. And so I knew it was coming.
I feel like we need to have a real conversation about Gabbie Hanna's Patreon. There are so many videos out there, well not so many, but there are quite a few videos out there speaking about some weird stories from Gabbie's Patreon about how she's a little bit, I guess a little bit close to the people on that Patreon. Not in a weird way, but it's definitely, I guess, odd that a content creator speaks about such personal, deep things with the people that give her money on a monthly subscription. That's very strange that that is an actual thing that happens with a massive content creator like Gabbie Hanna. Now, if this whole thing with an exposed list was real, that is actually mind-blowingly mental, and I wouldn't be surprised given, as I said, some of the stories that have come out about Gabbie's Patreon. I'm not going to pay money to access it, but yeah, I'm honest to God not surprised that Gabbie has allegedly got a hit list, basically a hit list of content creators that she wants to make exposed videos on. I mean, it's actually quite insane, but I'm really not surprised given the fact that this is, well, it's Gabbie Hanna. But the reason I've cut this little segment out isn't to stall time, but it's to actually show that this is a very good summary of where Gabbie Hanna currently is in her career. She has now surrounded herself in echo chambers that is full of her most dedicated fans, because they exist. There are dedicated fans of Onision, so there are obviously going to be dedicated fans of Gabbie Hanna, and obviously all of these fans are going to agree with absolutely everything that Gabbie tells them because of their parasocial relationship. And I know people don't like that word, but it is very clear that that is what is going on in these Patreon and maybe even Discord servers, just this community in general. And now naturally that's going to convince Gabbie more and more that she is right in absolutely every situation and can possibly never ever be wrong about absolutely anything, which is something that we will get into further in this video.
I was just like watching the video and just like yelling at my screen like, oh my god, like,
you're like
lies, Liza Minnelli.
Yes.
And I was just like, oh my god, she's twisting the truth. And I was so scared because she's very good at manipulating. Like she's good at it. Like she's so good at like making you feel bad for her that I was like, oh my god, okay. Hopefully people aren't going to like believe her, but like I can see why they would because she's so convincing.
If there's one thing I've learned during this whole YouTube thing is that a lot of people in positions of power easily, very easily manipulate their fan bases into believing any rhetoric or narrative that they possibly want their audience to believe without any substantial evidence. You could come out with an out of context screenshot to disprove something, and a lot of people will just eat that up and believe it. And now in a lot of situations maybe I can get it, but over the time of doing this thing I've definitely seen a lot of situations where content creators easily manipulate their fan bases, their audiences, just with the most minute, unsubstantial pieces of evidence and out of context things to prove some point wrong. So what I'm trying to say here is I don't doubt whatsoever that Gabbie is very good at manipulating, and she may not even realize it. That's the thing. I don't personally think that Gabbie is this big evil villain. I personally think that Gabbie is actually a pretty decent person, and let me explain further in this video. But I do think that Gabbie has a massive ego problem of where she just simply cannot be wrong about anything. She refuses to admit that she's wrong, and in the rare occasion where she does admit it, she will blame something like ADHD, and honestly, I think that's just a good representation of her ego. It's clear that Gabbie does have a god complex. But despite that, as I just said, I do believe that Gabbie genuinely is a decent person, and I understand people will be very mad at that, and I am just going to play a clip now of where the three on the podcast do actually speak speak about how they empathize with Gabbie in particular situations from last year.
How was the response for you, like, on your socials? Like, was it like, oh my god, this is insane? Or,
It
like,
was...
what was it like? Because I felt like it got wild.
Yeah, it was a lot of support, and it was weird because I felt bad for Gabbie at the same time.
I did
I did
felt
too.
bad for the same time.
Because, yeah, it's like you don't
I
want...
love you more than anything, and
Yeah.
I'd only heard good things from Escape the Night.
Yeah.
You know,
And
I
I've literally been on
support
Escape the
you.
Night.
But you know what it's like to get that hate.
I know
Yes.
what it's like to get that kind of hate and have videos made about you with my hands tied behind my back and be feeling enraged and like wanting to do something.
Yeah. The thing with Gabbie is like we were friends.
Yeah.
And like there's still a part of me that really cares about her. Like I still see
I
videos
like
of her and I'm like,
Gabbie
I kind of
too
wanna,
a
like,
little. I mean, I do.
Yeah. Like I want to like maybe mend this relationship in the future.
Oh,
but,
that's
but
amazing,
the thing
Joey.
is, I don't know if she would ever get to the place where
I think she
could
would.
apologize.
I think Gabbie will. I think it's gonna take time, but I see Gabbie. I think she's gonna get there. I think she's gonna apologize.
I don't know. It's that's the part that's so frustrating because we had a text conversation years before this happened where like I confronted her and it was the most like exhausting thing to just get her to understand where she went wrong. And so like still for her to like continue this, but yeah, like I still see videos of her and I'm like, oh, like I miss her because there's like there is a part of her that is really good.
Yes.
There
and, like,
is.
she
There is. I've had great interactions
I've had
with her.
good interactions with Gabbie.
Like she's a good person, but there's just something that it's hard for her to wrap her mind around her being in the wrong.
Yeah.
And if she can come around to that, like she could have ended this so quick if she just admitted her faults and moved on.
And said, I'm sorry, and moved on.
I feel like this is a perfect summary of Gabbie. I'm somebody that has had a previous friendship with Gabbie. I'm somebody that's spoken to them, not like all the time, but I've had conversations with Gabbie about people in drama, her in drama. So I've spoke to her just in general about things on YouTube. And I definitely have taken that she is somebody that does never want to be wrong. She just absolutely cannot handle being wrong in certain situations, and I think that's definitely caused her downfall on this platform to the point of where she's made entire series exposing previous friends and dragging out situations which haven't really been spoken about in a long time. It would be the equivalent if I made a video in 2022 about the E-boys. It would just be petty, it would just make no sense, and it would just be complete bollocks. Today I am exposing your mother for being a very lovely woman and bringing you into this world. Thank you. Thank you for bringing my subscribers into this world. And please subscribe. Thanks. As somebody that knows Gabbie, I definitely think that she has been done dirty in a lot of situations, particularly with the Vlog Squad. I think they treated her very badly. And other situations, as I said earlier, there's so many times Gabbie Hanna has been involved in drama, and I can't actually name like every single one because there are just so many, but I do feel like in a lot of situations, people have kind of dehumanized her, basically have attacked her like she's not a human being that can't make mistakes. But then at the same time, Gabbie always makes it worse for herself because even in those situations where she has made a mistake, she is so unwilling to admit that, and she will just make up excuses, so many excuses, and it only has led to her, I guess, getting worse in terms of her social media presence, in terms of her lashing out and taking her anger out on people, and it's just really disappointing. I mean, there was a situation last year where Gabbie Hanna lashed out at Rachel Oates because she didn't like what Rachel Oates had to say about her poetry. Rachel Oates being somebody who regularly reviews books fairly and nicely. She is a critic. She loves to review literature, and she was doing a very, very nice and calm review about Gabbie's book. It wasn't like a commentary video like myself where we take the piss and have a laugh. It was a very fair review, and Gabbie lashed out.
Where the real narcissism comes in is she says I'm talking about her for attention. You mean miss 4K views on your makeup tutorial? Miss 4K views on your commentary piece a week ago? Yeah, I just went and checked. I'm talking about you for attention. You talk about me, you get millions. I talk about you, I get still millions, but not because of you. The fact that she said attention-seeking games as if I've ever responded to her before. This is my first time responding to Rachel Oates. So what are my games? Is this a game, or am I just standing up for myself against the people who harassed, exploited, and profited off of me for almost a year? What is it, you manipulative, narcissistic bitch?
And there's no excuse for that behavior. There really isn't. But again, I think it all comes from the fact that Gabbie has been mistreated, but she at the same time has been wrong in situations, and it's kind of muddled up into this big mess of where she's been dehumanized. It's made her angry to the point of where she's never willing to admit that she's wrong about anything, and it's just built up and built up and built up and got so much worse. And I understand it sounds like I'm making a lot of excuses. I'm not. I'm just kind of trying to give my, I guess, thoughts and feelings when it comes to Gabbie and her entire social media platform. I absolutely do stand by most of my criticisms I've made of Gabbie Hanna in the past, but yeah, I'm not going to look past the fact that she has been mistreated, and even Laura in this podcast does actually mention that she had a positive experience with Gabbie, and I thought it would only be fair if I played this.
Whenever I went through my drama, oddly enough, Gabbie Hanna was one of the few influencers that would talk to me.
Yeah, same with me.
And she actually was, she didn't condone what went wrong, but she was there for me. So like in that way, I just see good. I do see good in Gabbie, and then I've sat back and watched all this unfold, and I hated every minute of it.
So it's like one of those things where it's
but
like
I've never been a Gabbie basher, because she's never come for me. And if anything, when I was in a dark time when no one would be there for me, oddly enough, there was Gabbie Hanna. So that's why I'm always like you, because you knew her so well, you have a soft spot for her.
We actually we have similar histories with our parents, like having like
I know that.
parents with like drug abuse. So we connected on that level, and like we had so many heart to hearts. Even like during all her scandals, like I was there to support her and stuff, like behind the scenes. So like we did have a strong connection.
Now, as I said previously, I've had positive experiences with Gabbie myself. I've hung out with Gabbie. I've spoke to Gabbie on the phone, and we texted quite a lot. You know, there was a point I considered her to be a friend until we seemingly fell out because, you know, I made a few jokes in videos about her books, but mainly because I didn't defend her on my YouTube channel, despite that actually not being true. It was just a case where I didn't want to defend her in a certain situation, you know? But case in point, it was another scenario of where Gabbie Hanna has fell out with somebody because she could not admit she was wrong, or she just couldn't allow other people to not admit that she was right. But not even that, because I was being neutral. I didn't say anything at that point of time. I was just silent and minding my own business, but it resulted in chaos. Gabbie Hanna lashed out at me on Twitter for not defending her, and in situations it made me feel incredibly used. I've said this multiple times now, I'm repeating myself, but yeah, that made me feel incredibly used, and it made me feel like we were only friends so she could get a video out of me when she needs to be defended, and I did not like that. I genuinely don't think that Joey Graceffa or Laura Lee want the downfall of Gabbie, but because of the series that Gabbie made, people like Joey Graceffa were forced into coming out and speaking about Gabbie and exposing her, and I just think it's a shame because it all comes from the unwillingness to admit that she was wrong. Ultimately, I do think that this series comes from a place of where Gabbie, in a lot of situations, has been unfairly treated or criticized way too much for very minute things, and it's led to a point of where she now feels like she's been mistreated in every situation, which obviously isn't the case. She has said and done some very, very stupid things, some bad things, some things which I will never defend and I've only criticized her on, but I do feel like I have to give both sides of the argument here and say, you know, when you have so much pressure on you of millions of people negatively looming over you, that could easily lead to some negative implications with anyone, such as Gabbie Hanna massively lashing out over absolutely everything, which was the culmination of her series. But even despite the nice things I've said here, I only get disappointed. I see Gabbie and I think, wow, she's doing great. I did a video on my second channel speaking about how I think she's improving, and then she comes on a podcast and I only get disappointed because Gabbie went on the BFFs podcast featuring Gabbie Hanna.
All right, BFFs. Special guest Gabbie Hanna. Welcome, Gabbie.
Whoop whoop. I can't tell you how ecstatic I am to be here.
So yes, this is a podcast that Gabbie went on. A podcast where they speak about social media drama. Whilst Gabbie is somebody that doesn't like social media drama.
You look like a rock star.
Oh, thank you.
Like the glasses. The glasses definitely give a little rock star. The bandana,
shirt, the jewelry, all
Thank
of
you.
that.
I made this last night just for you guys.
You made the shirt.
Yeah, dude. I love making shit.
Okay. What's it say on it?
The front says drama follows me. On the back it says show me how good it can get.
Oh. All right, well, we'll show you how good the drama is on BFFs.
So yeah, a nice little quirky shirt that Gabbie creatively put together, which shows the admittance that she is involved in a lot of drama. It's nice, it's great, it's quirky, but then 30 seconds later, she denies that the drama follows her, whilst wearing a shirt that says, drama follows her.
How good the drama is on BFFs.
Yeah, and I mean, yeah, and well, sorta. So do it
Sometimes.
not intentionally necessarily, but that's a good way to start, I guess, because drama does kind of follow you, right?
Not so much, and not in my real life.
But then 30 seconds later, Gabbie says that drama does follow her.
I guess I'd have to say that drama definitely follows me, which I think that I'm a lightning rod for energy.
Gabbie, I'm just a little confused.
It's mostly, I'd say, I've always been very bad at ignoring drama, and I've gotten very good at ignoring drama.
Gabbie, you are wearing a shirt that quite literally has text on it, basically admitting to the fact that you embrace drama. I'm losing my marbles. Gabbie for the last 4 years has seemingly been stuck in this cycle of loving drama whilst at the same time hating drama. I feel like Gabbie from another universe who hates drama for the last 4 years has basically been dreamwalking into our universe as Gabbie Hanna of being like, hey, I actually hate drama, and then they dreamwalk out of Gabbie, and then Gabbie's like, actually no. No, I like a little bit of drama, and here's my new series exposing PewDiePie. Or maybe she's just a hypocrite. I don't know. I don't write the script. Actually, no. No, I do write the script. This is my video. Moving on. But yes, after the confusing situation, Gabbie then goes on to speak about previous dramatic situations that Gabbie Hanna has been involved in, and I just thought that I would play the clip so you can get the full context.
The way that you have those champagne bottles with your enemy's name on them, that kind of pushed me into my villain era.
So I inspired you to hate, like
but it wasn't for me though. I realized quickly that it wasn't for me. It also wasn't perceived the same on me, I believe, as a woman as it is a man, and that's honestly just like the truth of it is like when a man's like really going after people and people are like, yeah, that's hilarious, but if I'm to do that, it's like, what a bitch, she's a drama queen. So
they didn't like you going after people?
They didn't like me standing up for myself.
How were you standing up for yourself?
Against who?
I just got kind of like internet tabloids and shit. I got really wrapped up in paying attention to what people were saying, and I think that, you know, people who would normally get 10 to 20,000 views were all of a sudden hitting 2, 3, 5, 6 million on it with my name. Like, it just became a game to people. Well, it became a business to people to really just say whatever the they wanted.
Look, I don't think Gabbie is wrong. I definitely think that the internet is this place where women continuously get shut down far more by men, and I think that does come from a very sexist attitude that society has, particularly on social media. I definitely think that a lot of women out there are unfairly treated on social media, unfairly clowned on, just for, I don't know, even wearing clothes women get criticized for on social media. And I'm not saying that men don't in some scenarios, but for the most part, yes, there is a lot of sexism on the internet, and I think that she is right in what she is saying there. But at the same time, Gabbie, you made an incredibly antagonistic series of where you attacked multiple major creators. Are these creators meant to just sit back at the fear of being, I guess, called sexist? Because I don't personally think it is sexist for them to respond. Now, at the same time, I do acknowledge that a lot of people out there will have probably been sexist, have been sexist to Gabbie Hanna. I definitely think that people have taken very real critiques of Gabbie Hanna and kind of used it to mask over their sexism. I definitely think that happens in a lot of scenarios, not just with Gabbie Hanna. And I definitely think that, I keep saying I think, but I do think that that is something worth speaking about. But at the same time, I feel like a lot of people just in general saw through the bullshit of Gabbie Hanna, not just men, but women too, NBs too, and called out the fact that, yeah, Gabbie has lied quite a lot and manipulated quite a lot. It's the internet. The internet will regularly respond and speak about anything going on in the public eye. I don't want this to come off like I'm dismissing Gabbie's experience with sexism. I'm definitely not doing that, but what I am saying is that when you create an antagonistic series which is designed to call out creators by name with very serious allegations, that is obviously going to warrant a response from the entire internet. That's just something that will happen, and I feel like you knew that and you should have been prepared for that. Now, moving on to the whole thing of, I guess, business being mentioned, yeah, I definitely think that a lot of people out there have used Gabbie's name for a business. But at the same time, I feel like this is a manipulative thing to say. I feel like she is only saying this so people, more and more people start to think this, that whenever there's a video out there criticizing Gabbie Hanna, that video has merely been made for monetary gain. And that is absolutely not true. Whilst people, you know, enjoy money, I think most people enjoy money, for the most part, I feel like a lot of people out there are making valid criticisms of Gabbie Hanna, where she says something ridiculous about mental health or ridiculous about a certain situation or a content creator, including Graceffa, and they are airing their frustrations and exposing the lies and deceit. I think Gabbie says things like this just to kind of convince people that aren't against her that the people that are against her are only doing it for money. I think Gabbie has made some valid points here, but I don't necessarily think they're 100% accurate. This is something Gabbie does regularly, of where she paints absolutely everybody criticizing her as terrible people and not people with valid concerns and criticisms. But now we move on to the topic of, I guess, Gabbie Hanna defending herself and her justification for her series.
Then it just got to a point where there was so much of it that I was like, am I just gonna let people keep fucking steamrolling me? So I stood up for myself. I kind of knew in my heart that it was gonna be a really traumatic year for me to kind of scatter the roaches and see who's got my back, who's really here for me. I need to fucking let people know that I will speak up for myself for the first time, because for years people are like, ignore it. And it's like, damn, how much can I ignore? How long do I have to ignore this before I get to fucking say my piece? And I was watching these insanely talented, beautiful, successful women like Britney Spears, Meghan Markle, even Bad Baby took too much heat for like being a kid. And I'm like, holy shit, like I'm sitting here saying, I wish all these women would stand up for themselves and speak their fucking mind and talk their shit. And I'm not doing it myself.
Again, I can understand what Gabbie is saying here. I imagine it is much more difficult for a woman to come and defend herself on the internet because, again, we do live in a very sexist society, whether if people want to deny that or not. I certainly believe that we do, and I think that a lot of people will be much more dismissive of women than men. And again, I'm not saying people don't just dismiss men, but for the most part, I feel like a lot of women out there do just kind of get stamped on and ignored and dismissed just because of the fact that they're a woman, and I completely acknowledge that. But at the same time, Gabbie, you have regularly defended yourself on the internet. This is something I've noticed about her series of where she says that, oh, I finally wanted to stand up for myself. Gabbie, you've responded to so many situations in the past for the last 4 or 5 years. This series wasn't a new thing. I mean, you literally came onto my platform where we did an interview, which was probably pretty biased because we were coming at a defensive point about you. And yeah, you were defending yourself there. Even if it was on my platform, you did do that. And it's not like Gabbie has been secret about her defensive side, which is perfectly fine, but there have been times in the past of where it's just been absolutely ridiculous. Like when a creator liked a tweet about Gabbie and Gabbie outright tweeted at that person and sent them paragraphs in her DMs merely for liking a tweet. Gabbie, you have always been extremely defensive, and that's that's absolutely fine. Gabbie, you have the full absolute right to defend yourself in any scenario, even if it's just you responding to my videos about your cringy TikToks. I get it. Those videos may be a little bit unnecessary, but I like to have a laugh. I like to take the piss. It is a little bit fun. And at the same time, I do think you said some silly things on TikTok. But, you know, Gabbie, a lot of people are going to criticize even your defenses because you are defending yourself against criticism that has been made about you when you have been wrong in a situation in the eyes of a lot of people. It's just something that's going to become a back and forth very regularly because you have done so many silly things. And even one of the hosts on this show gives Gabbie the opportunity to go into further detail about these things, but Gabbie's instantly like, nope, no, there's far cooler shit to speak about.
I spent a long time for myself kind of piecing together. I mean, I was being gaslighted literally publicly for years by so many different people telling me I said or did things or was somebody I wasn't. So I just needed for myself to literally research my life for the last like 7 years, make sure I'm not crazy, make sure I knew that these people were lying about the things they said I did or they didn't do or whatever. And then once I did it for myself, I realized that I really didn't need to make it public. So I did half of it public.
What half did you do public? So basically this is all Vlog Squad stuff. Is this like Trish Paytas stuff we're talking about right now or no?
Oh, dude, there is an infinite number of infinitely cooler shit to talk about, and I would love to.
Like what?
I think when you're going to make a lot of wild claims, you should probably elaborate further on those claims, particularly when you are on a podcast, which is long-form content. You can articulate your words and have a conversation about it with people, I guess not going against you, but at least challenging you on your thoughts and your feelings. I think this is the perfect place to elaborate on it, having a conversation. I think that would be great, but you instantly just say, no, let's speak about some cool shit. And it's like, okay, I guess, but why would you bring it up in the first place? Because you love drama, and you've probably got an album coming out soon. As I said earlier, I don't think Gabbie is necessarily a bad person. To be honest with you, it does take a lot for me to think somebody is truly a bad person. But yeah, I don't care if it's controversial. I just think that she has a massive ego problem, which has led to her doing and saying a lot of bad and stupid things. I mentioned earlier wanting to dive into the question of, does Gabbie Hanna have a victim complex? And no, I actually don't think she does, unless we're going to conflate that with an ego problem, because personally I think that she is somebody who is incredibly self-obsessed and incredibly obsessed with being right about absolutely everything, and she has been unfairly treated in some scenarios, but now she has mixed that in with the fact that she is now right in every scenario, which is never the case with anyone. That's the thing. Everybody can make mistakes, and the fact that Gabbie likes to speak how she's now in tune so much with her spirituality, it's strange to me that she is still never willing to admit that her as a human being can be wrong. To conclude this video, Gabbie is somebody who never really surprises me anymore, and I do wish nothing but the best for her, but Gabbie, I think you do just need to admit that human beings are flawed, you are flawed, I'm flawed, everybody says dumb things, everybody regrets them and makes mistakes. It's fine, Gabbie, we just need to admit to them and to actually grow as people, and hopefully, like Laura Lee and like Joey said, she'll change, she'll grow, and she'll continue to do great in the music industry. If you think I've been too nice in this video, I don't actually care, because I feel like I'm coming at this from a pretty human perspective, and people have criticized me for covering Gabbie so much, so, you know, I thought, let's play both sides here. Let's be a little bit nuanced, but let's be very nuanced, and let's just take a fair approach to this. So yeah, I'm gonna end the video by saying, these nuts. Thank you so much for coming along to this video. I hope I've articulated my points well. Please subscribe. I didn't put a little sub push in this because people complain about it. And you know, who cares? Thanks for watching. Please like this video. Get it to 20,000 likes. That would be blooming lovely. If you do that, I will release my iceberg video coming out very soon. Like this video and you'll get it next week. I think on Wednesday, maybe. Please follow my social medias at inabber69 on Twitter, particularly inabber on Instagram. Please, for the love of God, follow that because I post cute photos of my dog. And then please follow my second channel. It's all there in the description. But I'm running on too long now. Bye. Peace out. Have a lovely day. See you later.